I would like to share my testimony about when Jesus revealed to me the sea that he was referring to when he said, "And the sea gave up the dead," found in Revelation 20:13. One evening, while I was waiting for a Bible study to begin at a church I was visiting, and I was reading Revelation 20:11 through 15, Jesus revealed to me that the sea that gives up the dead found in Revelation 20:13 is the lake of fire. Revelation 20:11 through 15 says, "Then I saw a great white throne, and him who sat upon it, from whose presence earth and heaven fled away, and no place was found for them. And I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged from the things which were written in the books according to their deeds. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every one of them according to their deeds. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire." Then Jesus confirmed to me that the sea that gives up the dead is the lake of fire, when he brought to my mind Revelation 19:20, which tells us that when Jesus returns, he will throw the Antichrist and the false prophet alive into the lake of fire. And then it became clear to me that the sea that gives up the dead found in Revelation 20:13 is the lake of fire, because in order for the Antichrist and the false prophet to be judged, they have to be raised from the lake of fire. Revelation 19:20 states, "And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who performed the signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire, which burns with brimstone." You can see from this verse that the false prophet and the Antichrist will be thrown alive into the lake of fire, and in order for them to be judged at the judgment of the dead, they have to be raised up. And Jesus revealed to me that the sea that gives up the dead in Revelation 20:13 is the lake of fire. Now since Revelation 20:13, which states, "And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every one of them according to their deeds," does not list the lake of fire by that name in the list of places that give up the dead, and the Antichrist and the false prophet have to be raised up in order to be judged, the sea that gives up the dead in this verse has to be referring to the lake of fire. Otherwise, the Antichrist and the false prophet would not be included among those that are judged in the judgment of the dead, and we know that that can't be true because the Bible tells us that everyone will stand before Jesus and be judged. Another way that we can see that the sea that gives up the dead is the lake of fire is that it is the only sea that will contain individuals, and in this case the Antichrist and the false prophet, that have to be raised up so that they can be judged at the judgment of the dead. You can also see that the sea that gives up the dead is the lake of fire because after it is listed as one of the places that the dead are raised from, it is not included in the list in Revelation 20:14 that are thrown into the lake of fire. And the reason that the sea is not included in the list that is thrown into the lake of fire is because the sea is the lake of fire. Revelation 20:14 states, "Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire." This is the second death, the lake of fire. So you can see from the verses I quoted that the sea found in Revelation 20:13 is the lake of fire, and not the seas that exist on the earth, as many believers think the sea that gives up the dead is referring to.